I would necessarily have. It is a moment when you need to have that discussion. The monarchy provides, with the Constitution, a degree.
What happens when tradition meets uncertainty at the heart of a centuries-old monarchy? As King Charles battles cancer and Prince William steps further into the spotlight, the royal family stands at the edge of a quiet yet profound shift. Is the crown preparing for a new era, sooner than expected? In a quiet corner of Buckingham Palace, something deeply significant took place, far from public cameras and media headlines. It wasn't a grand ceremony or a royal appearance meant for the public eye. It was a private and emotional moment shared within the walls of the royal residence, one that marked the start of a quiet but important shift in the British monarchy. Prince William, the eldest son of King Charles III and the late Princess Diana, has been preparing for a future on the throne for decades. Over the years, he's taken on more royal duties, traveled the world on behalf of the crown, and worked with charities to support mental health, homelessness, and the environment. His growth into a steady, dependable public figure hasn't gone unnoticed. But even with that in mind, what happened during this private family gathering in the palace seemed to confirm that a new chapter was beginning. And the moment belonged not just to William, but also to his aunt, Princess Anne. During a recent private family event, the atmosphere in the palace reportedly changed dramatically when Princess Anne entered the room. People who had been chatting and enjoying themselves became quiet. No one was asked to stop talking. There were no formal announcements or guards calling for silence. But something in Anne's presence signaled that this was not an ordinary moment. She wasn't carrying herself in a way that demanded attention, but rather in a way that suggested importance and gravity. She held a letter in her hand, sealed, unopened. It was clear that this letter had not been meant for public eyes. It wasn't written for the press or for history books. It was a personal message from King Charles to his sister. And based on how she walked, how everyone around her responded, and the care she showed in approaching the center of the room, the message inside was going to be deeply meaningful. Once Anne stood at the center of the room, close family members gradually moved toward her. Nobody spoke, but they understood. They knew the importance of what she held. The letter was from their brother, their father, their king. It carried a final wish, something written not to make headlines, but to offer guidance and reassurance for the days ahead. When Anne finally opened the letter, the seal broke with a quiet sound that cut through the silence of the room. It was a small sound, but its meaning was heavy. The paper opened, and Princess Anne began to read aloud. Her voice, by all accounts, was calm and steady. The words she shared were not focused on grief or fear. They didn't reflect bitterness or regret. Instead, they reflected warmth, hope, and unity. King Charles, who had been dealing with ongoing health concerns, chose not to make this a farewell message. He didn't list out final instructions or distribute personal notes. What he did instead was speak about the importance of unity in the family. He reminded his loved ones that the monarchy is about more than tradition and ceremony. It's about service, support, and staying connected through shared values. He acknowledged Prince William specifically, pointing out how his eldest son had been stepping up in recent years, not with loud gestures, but with quiet consistency. Charles made it clear that he had confidence in William's ability to lead, but he also made something else clear. William should not carry the weight of the crown alone. The king asked his family to stand by William, to guide him when needed, and to continue to support one another as they had in the past. This message was not just about passing down responsibility. It was about carrying forward a sense of duty and care. Charles emphasized the importance of kindness, of choosing peace within the family, and of protecting the ties that connect them. He didn't ask for grand gestures. He asked for compassion and unity. As Anne read the letter, many in the room reportedly became emotional. Some quietly cried, not just because of the weight of losing a beloved family member, but because of the tenderness and thoughtfulness in Charles's words. It was a moment that reminded everyone that the people behind the titles are still a family. They mourn, they worry, they hope, just like anyone else. When Anne finished reading, she didn't say anything more. She simply folded the letter and held it with care. The room remained silent. There were no speeches or statements, but something had shifted. There was a quiet understanding that this message, this moment, would stay with them. It had touched something deeper than protocol. It had reminded them of their connection and of their shared responsibility. Why was it Princess Anne who was chosen to read the letter? Why not Queen Camilla, or even Prince William himself? The answer likely lies in the unique role Anne has played within the royal family. Unlike some of her siblings, Anne has rarely been at the center of controversy. She doesn't seek attention or headlines. Instead, she has spent decades building a reputation for being one of the hardest-working royals. Her presence commands respect, not because she asks for it, but because she has earned it. Throughout her life, Princess Anne has consistently taken on royal duties with discipline and commitment. She's traveled the world, represented the crown in dozens of countries, and worked with numerous charities, including her long-standing role as president of Save the Children UK. She's not known for speeches or drama. She's known for getting things done. Her relationship with her brother, King Charles, has always been one of mutual respect. As the second child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Anne grew up in the spotlight but never allowed it to distract her from her work. She's known for her honesty, her practical nature, and her ability to stay focused on what really matters. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, Anne was once again by her brother's side, taking on important responsibilities during a time of national mourning and transition. She was appointed as Gold Stick in Waiting during Charles's coronation in 2023, a ceremonial role that also symbolized her position as one of the king's most trusted supporters. Later, she became a counselor of state, entrusted with official duties when the king was unavailable. So when the time came to deliver the king's most personal message, it made sense that Anne was the one to share it. She didn't speak for the press. She spoke for the family. Her words came from the heart of the monarchy, not as a ruler, but as a sister. The content of the letter, while private, has been described by insiders as a gentle reminder that leadership in the royal family is not just about appearances. It's about service, loyalty, and the relationships that sustain the institution. And that message, spoken quietly, away from the cameras, is one that could shape the future of the monarchy in a more meaningful way than any public address. It's unclear when or if the full contents of the letter will ever be made public. But what is clear is that this moment marks something of a turning point. It brought the royal family together at a time of change. It acknowledged the challenges ahead while offering reassurance. And it did so through the voice of someone who has come to represent the very qualities the monarchy hopes to uphold: dignity, commitment, and quiet strength. Whether or not this moment signals a more formal transition in the monarchy remains to be seen. But for those in the room, and perhaps for the wider institution, it served as a reminder that change is coming, and that it will be guided not just by duty, but by the people who carry it forward. She never sought the spotlight for herself. Instead, her actions consistently reflected a quiet strength, rooted in compassion and a sincere desire to make a difference. From the earliest days of her public life, Catherine, Princess of Wales, displayed a calm and measured approach that set her apart. She wasn't focused on making headlines or delivering grand speeches. Instead, she focused on engaging meaningfully with the people she met. This human, understated style is precisely what has allowed her to build such widespread respect over time. One of the earliest indicators of this approach came around the time of her marriage to Prince William in 2011. Rather than requesting lavish gifts or high-value items, the couple chose to establish a charitable gift fund for their wedding. They invited the public to contribute to various causes that were meaningful to them. The donations went to a range of charities supporting children, military families, wildlife, and people experiencing serious health conditions. It was an early sign that William and Catherine intended to use their positions to bring about tangible good, even on what was arguably the most celebrated day of their lives. Catherine's focus quickly shifted from ceremonial engagements to issues she found personally meaningful. She didn't take on dozens of causes just for the sake of appearances. Instead, she deliberately selected a handful of areas where she could make a lasting impact. Mental health, addiction recovery, children's welfare, and family support became some of the central themes of her public work. Her academic background in art history also played a part in shaping her passions. Rather than treating it as a hobby or academic interest, she used it as a way to support organizations that integrated creativity and healing, especially for young people. She lent her voice to charities using art therapy to support children dealing with trauma, neglect, or chronic illness. Her support was never just symbolic. In many cases, her presence helped raise the visibility of these programs, driving more attention and resources their way. Photography became one of her personal tools in connecting with the public. Catherine began taking official photos of her children for birthdays and special occasions, offering the public a more natural, relatable window into royal family life. These images were often shared on social media and widely praised for their warmth and authenticity. Instead of stiff portraits taken by professional photographers, the photos captured candid, joyful moments, children playing, laughing, and enjoying simple pleasures. For many, these photos made the royal family seem less distant, less choreographed, and more real. As she settled into her role, Catherine began to undertake more solo engagements. At first, she accompanied Prince William to official events and overseas visits, such as their well-received post-wedding trip to Canada. During that tour, they drew large, enthusiastic crowds, and the public response to Catherine was especially positive. Her natural ease with people and her interest in local culture and communities helped establish a tone that would follow her throughout her royal work. Over time, however, Catherine started to carry more of the royal workload independently. Her first solo public event was a private fundraiser for In Kind Direct, a charity that redistributes surplus goods to organizations that support vulnerable people. Soon after, she gave her first speech at a children's hospice. While her voice was quiet, her words were heartfelt and resonated with the families and children present. This wasn't a performance. It was the beginning of Catherine's voice finding strength through real connection. While balancing her public duties, Catherine also made family life a central focus. Alongside Prince William, she embraced a parenting style that emphasized routine, affection, and a sense of normalcy, despite the family's public profile. Their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, were raised in an environment that prioritized emotional stability and protected space. Even though they are royal children, Catherine and William worked hard to keep their early lives as ordinary as possible. The couple chose to live in quieter, more secluded locations, such as Anglesey Island and later Anmer Hall in Norfolk, giving their children room to grow up away from constant scrutiny. When they did share glimpses of their private lives, it was on their terms, through family photos, carefully chosen interviews, or appearances at select events. These shared moments were never excessive or attention-seeking. Instead, they were small but genuine ways to let the public feel part of the family's journey. Catherine's work in the mental health field became one of her most significant contributions. Recognizing that mental well-being is often overlooked or stigmatized, she took part in projects that aimed to normalize open conversations about emotional struggles. This included visits to schools, discussions with parents, and support for research into early childhood development. She understood that children's emotional health is deeply shaped by their earliest experiences, and she worked with experts to bring that conversation into the public arena. One of her most impactful projects in this area was her involvement in the Heads Together campaign. Launched in 2016 alongside Prince William and Prince Harry, the campaign aimed to challenge the stigma surrounding mental illness. Rather than leading with clinical language or statistics, the initiative focused on storytelling, encouraging people to share their experiences, seek help when needed, and support one another without judgment. Catherine was a consistent and thoughtful presence in these efforts, advocating for empathy, education, and community-based solutions. Even during global crises, Catherine maintained her commitment to service. When the COVID-19 pandemic upended normal life in 2020, many public figures stepped back from the spotlight. Catherine and William, however, adapted quickly. They held video calls with NHS staff, checked in with teachers and parents, and stayed engaged with frontline workers. They also embarked on a train tour through England, Scotland, and Wales to personally thank those who kept essential services running during lockdowns. The journey, although symbolic, was also sincere. It demonstrated that their commitment to public service extended beyond ceremonial appearances. Catherine's approach remained consistent as the couple's royal responsibilities increased. She brought the same thoughtful, hands-on attitude to her patronages, events, and public appearances. Whether she was visiting a sports charity, attending a school event, or joining a medical research roundtable, her focus stayed on connecting with people and giving attention to those who often felt overlooked. This consistency made a difference. Catherine wasn't redefining the monarchy overnight. She was slowly building a new kind of royal image, one that values human connection over grandeur and steady engagement over short-lived publicity. Through her actions, she helped modernize the role of a royal woman. She remained respectful of tradition, but never appeared constrained by it. She made space for her own interests, personality, and values, all while supporting her husband's growing responsibilities. Her marriage to Prince William has often been described as a partnership. They appear to work as a team, not only in public appearances, but also in their approach to parenting, communication, and the overall direction of their public work. While William has taken on more senior roles within the monarchy, Catherine has provided a stable and supportive presence, both publicly and privately. Their unity, shown through shared appearances and coordinated campaigns, has helped reinforce the monarchy's sense of continuity and purpose. Over the years, public opinion of Catherine has remained overwhelmingly positive. She is often viewed as poised, approachable, and consistent, qualities that are not always easy to maintain in such a high-profile role. As she took on the title of Princess of Wales following the death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022, she did so not with pomp or excessive ceremony, but with quiet dignity. She did not try to replicate anyone's legacy. Instead, she continued to shape her own path, grounded in service, family, and a deep sense of responsibility. In many ways, Catherine's journey reflects the changing face of the modern British monarchy. She represents a shift from distant formality to meaningful engagement. Her work focuses not on spectacle, but on progress. Whether it's addressing children's mental health, supporting addiction recovery, or helping families navigate personal challenges, Catherine has chosen to serve in ways that make a difference beyond the palace gates. As the royal family continues to navigate change and prepare for the future, Catherine's steady presence will likely become even more vital. She brings with her a unique blend of empathy, intellect, and practical commitment. Through her actions, she has demonstrated that the role of a royal isn't just to represent a nation. It's to listen to it, understand it, and stand alongside it. Prince William and Catherine's journey as senior members of the royal family continued to evolve steadily after their marriage in 2011. From the very beginning, they approached their responsibilities with a focus on authenticity, accessibility, and long-term impact. Their early tours around the world laid the foundation for a new kind of royal engagement, one that prioritized connection over formality, presence over performance. One of their most memorable early engagements was their official tour of Canada shortly after their wedding. Massive crowds gathered to greet the young couple. For many, seeing Prince William brought back memories of his late mother, Princess Diana. His warm demeanor and friendly interactions mirrored some of the qualities people had admired in her. Catherine, meanwhile, charmed the public with her elegance, simplicity, and natural grace. Together, they represented the modern face of the monarchy, grounded, respectful, and attuned to the needs of the public. After Canada, the couple traveled to the United States, where Catherine made her first official visit as a member of the royal family. The trip included a high-profile stop in California. And once again, the reception was overwhelmingly positive. Catherine's interactions were marked by kindness and interest in those she met. not merely fulfilling obligations, but making genuine efforts to connect. The following year, in 2012, William and Catherine embarked on a significant tour of Asia and the South Pacific to mark Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee. During that tour, Catherine delivered her first speech abroad at a children's hospice in Malaysia. She spoke softly but sincerely, reflecting on the importance of care, support, and community for children facing serious illnesses. This appearance demonstrated her growing confidence in public speaking and her deepening commitment to humanitarian causes. In 2014, the couple brought their young son, Prince George, on his first royal tour. The destination was Australia and New Zealand. The trip attracted global attention, not only because it was George's debut in the public eye, but also because the family dynamic offered a fresh and relatable image of royalty. Catherine and William balanced official duties with family moments, and George's playful behavior during public appearances added a sense of warmth and levity. His presence wasn't overly orchestrated, but instead felt like a natural part of a young family engaging with the world. As their family grew, with the arrival of Princess Charlotte in 2015 and Prince Louis in 2018, William and Catherine maintained their decision to protect their children's privacy, while also sharing carefully chosen glimpses of family life. Their home life was deliberately kept grounded. They chose to raise their children first on the remote island of Anglesey in Wales, and later at Anmer Hall in Norfolk, places that offered privacy and a slower pace of life. These choices reflected their desire to provide their children with as normal an upbringing as possible, despite their royal status. Public appearances with the children remained rare and intentional. When they did occur, they were warmly received. Whether it was watching a football match, attending Trooping the Color, or participating in a family photo released on birthdays or holidays, these moments humanized the royal family. They showed that the young princes and princess were not unlike other children, curious, playful, and surrounded by love. Even as they protected their private life, William and Catherine took on an increasing number of public responsibilities. Catherine became more confident in her role, attending events on her own and representing the family at official functions. She remained consistent in her focus on early childhood development, mental health, and family support. Her commitment wasn't driven by fleeting media cycles, but by long-term involvement with the organizations and causes she supported. At the same time, William's public profile began to expand as well. His early work included time as a search and rescue pilot, and later as an air ambulance pilot, experiences that gave him direct exposure to trauma, crisis, and frontline public service. These roles shaped his perspective and made him more relatable to many members of the public. When he spoke about mental health or the challenges of emergency work, he spoke not from a distance, but from personal experience. In 2016, William, Catherine, and Prince Harry launched the Heads Together campaign, a mental health initiative aimed at breaking the stigma surrounding emotional and psychological challenges. The campaign encouraged people to open up, seek help, and support one another. What made this initiative particularly powerful was the willingness of all three royals to speak candidly about their own experiences. William discussed the emotional toll of his work as a pilot and the lingering grief over his mother's death. This level of honesty from a future king was unusual and significant, helping to move public discourse forward in a constructive way. The campaign also demonstrated the royal family's growing understanding of how to communicate with a modern audience. Heads Together made effective use of social media, storytelling, and community partnerships. It wasn't just about ceremonial appearances. It was about creating real cultural shifts around mental health, resilience, and support. As the couple's responsibilities continued to grow, they also began to engage more with global issues. In 2020, Prince William launched the Earthshot Prize, an ambitious initiative aimed at addressing some of the world's most pressing environmental challenges. The prize offers £1 million each to 5 winners annually, supporting projects that offer practical solutions to environmental problems. The initiative is notable not just for its size, but for its focus on collaboration, innovation, and long-term impact. William's environmental advocacy builds on a legacy from his father, King Charles III, who was long seen as a pioneer in environmental conservation. But William has given that legacy a modern twist. Earthshot embraces global collaboration, media engagement, and forward-thinking partnerships, reflecting the prince's understanding of how to mobilize attention and resources in today's world. Throughout these years, the couple's marriage remained a central foundation of their public identity. William and Catherine consistently presented a united front. Their shared values, calm demeanor, and mutual respect have helped reinforce their credibility and appeal. They have found a balance between upholding royal tradition and adapting to contemporary expectations. Their public presence also evolved during the pandemic. As COVID-19 disrupted daily life across the UK and beyond, William and Catherine continued to fulfill their duties, albeit in new ways. They conducted virtual visits with healthcare workers, educators, and community leaders. They posted messages of encouragement, checked in on families, and supported mental health efforts at a time when many were struggling in isolation. In December 2020, the couple undertook a train journey across the UK to thank frontline workers. This gesture, though largely symbolic, resonated with many as a sincere expression of gratitude during a difficult time. Catherine's efforts during this period included maintaining support for early years programs, maternal well-being, and mental health services. Rather than withdrawing during a global crisis, she leaned into her responsibilities. Her work was not about being seen, but about being useful. Over the years, Catherine has also subtly redefined the image of the royal spouse. She has demonstrated that being in such a role doesn't mean being confined to ceremonial appearances or passive support. Instead, she has carved out a public identity based on informed advocacy, long-term involvement, and personal authenticity. She doesn't overshadow her husband, but she is not merely a background figure either. Her contributions are meaningful in their own right. Meanwhile, Prince William has increasingly been viewed as a steady and dependable figure within the royal family. He continues to balance public duties with family responsibilities, demonstrating a model of leadership that combines empathy with consistency. While he does not rush to take on the throne or dominate headlines, he is steadily preparing for the future. With King Charles facing health concerns in recent years, speculation has grown about when William might become king. The royal family, however, has made no formal announcements regarding succession. In the meantime, William continues to step into larger roles, meeting world leaders, representing the monarchy at key events, and supporting his father behind the scenes. His conduct during this transitional period has helped to reassure many that the monarchy is in capable hands. The couple's use of modern communication tools has also played a significant role in reshaping public engagement. Their official social media channels offer carefully curated glimpses into royal life, showcasing both official engagements and more personal, candid moments. These updates make the family feel more accessible without compromising their privacy or dignity. It's a balancing act that few public figures manage as well. Overall, the period following their marriage through the late 2010s and early 2020s reflects a deliberate and well-measured evolution. William and Catherine have shown that royalty in the modern age does not have to be static or stuck in the past. It can be adaptive, relatable, and socially responsible. Their story is not one of radical transformation, but of careful growth, steady commitment, and the quiet redefinition of what it means to serve in the public eye. Through every step, they have positioned themselves not only as future monarchs, but as modern representatives of a centuries-old institution that continues to find its place in a changing world. As 2023 unfolded, significant developments began to shape the British royal family's future. King Charles III, who had ascended the throne following the death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022, was dealing with increasing health issues that placed him under close public and media scrutiny. Although the royal household maintained its customary discretion, there were unmistakable signs that the monarchy was entering a transitional phase. In January 2024, Buckingham Palace released a statement informing the public that King Charles had been admitted to hospital in London for a routine medical procedure. At first, the announcement appeared to be of minor concern. The condition was described as benign, with the king being treated for an enlarged prostate, a common issue for men in his age group. The palace reassured the nation that His Majesty was recovering well and would return to work shortly. However, not long after this announcement, there was a shift in tone. While undergoing care for the prostate issue, doctors discovered a separate, more serious health concern. In early February, the palace confirmed that King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer. The type of cancer was not disclosed, although it was clarified that it was unrelated to the prostate condition. This marked a turning point. The king began a course of treatment that required regular hospital visits, and while he continued to carry out duties behind the scenes, he drastically reduced his public appearances. The public reacted with concern and sympathy. Although King Charles had always faced criticism in certain quarters, particularly in relation to his earlier personal life, there was growing admiration for his resilience and dedication. Even as he battled illness, he remained committed to his role, reading government papers, hosting private meetings, and guiding affairs of state from within the palace. Queen Camilla played a crucial role during this period. She took on many of the king's public responsibilities and represented the monarchy at key events. Her presence offered continuity and reassurance, though it was clear the royal household was adjusting its routines to accommodate the king's health limitations. In March 2024, King Charles made a rare public appearance at the traditional Easter Sunday service in Windsor. The sight of him in public, though visibly tired, was met with warmth and appreciation. People were relieved to see their monarch on his feet and engaged with the public. The following month, the palace shared that the king's treatment was progressing well, and that he would begin resuming some of his public duties. Still, his appearances remained limited. That same year, further complications emerged. In March 2025, King Charles was again hospitalized briefly. The palace explained that this was due to side effects from his ongoing cancer treatment. Several scheduled engagements were canceled or reassigned. While these official updates struck an optimistic tone, the frequency of health interruptions and the king's limited visibility fueled ongoing speculation about the severity of his condition. Despite these challenges, the king remained actively involved in national matters. In a surprising move in May 2025, he made a 20-hour visit to Canada. During this brief trip, he delivered a speech in Parliament and met with Canadian officials. While many praised his continued devotion to his responsibilities, the brevity of the visit led some to question whether it was a subtle signal of his declining stamina or a public relations effort to affirm his ongoing relevance. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla faced health setbacks of her own. During a royal visit to Australia and Samoa in late 2024, she became ill and was later diagnosed with pneumonia. This illness significantly affected her energy levels. She canceled a series of royal appearances, and although she eventually recovered, her ability to resume a full schedule remained limited. Her absence during the Emir of Qatar's visit in December 2024 further raised questions about the toll royal duties were taking on both senior royals. In April 2025, King Charles and Queen Camilla made a notable appearance at the Vatican, where they met with Pope Francis. It was a momentous visit, marking their 20th wedding anniversary, and one that drew attention for both emotional and political reasons. Pope Francis, also struggling with health issues, passed away just days after the meeting. The timing gave the event a sense of gravity, especially as it symbolized a rare meeting between two global figures, each facing serious medical challenges while continuing to serve their respective institutions. With the king and queen both experiencing periods of illness and reduced public presence, the public's attention naturally shifted toward Prince William. As the heir to the throne, he had already been taking on more responsibilities. In the wake of his father's diagnosis, these duties grew more frequent and visible. William began representing the crown at more engagements, both domestically and internationally. His presence became more prominent at state functions, ceremonies, and charitable activities. Despite the heightened pressure, Prince William handled his increased responsibilities with composure. He met with world leaders, delivered thoughtful speeches, and continued supporting causes close to his heart. His public image remained consistent, calm, empathetic, and steadfast. Notably, he did not seek to overshadow his father or signal any immediate desire for succession. Instead, his approach was quiet and respectful, offering stability at a time of uncertainty. The notion of abdication began to surface in public discourse. Though historically rare in the British monarchy, the idea gained traction due to the king's health and the precedent of other European monarchs who had stepped aside. King Edward VIII's abdication in 1936 for love was still remembered as a seismic moment in royal history. More recently, monarchs in countries like the Netherlands and Spain had abdicated to allow younger generations to take the reins. In Spain, for instance, King Juan Carlos III abdicated in 2014 in favor of his son, Felipe VI. His decision was influenced by health concerns and a desire to modernize the monarchy's leadership. The Polish king, John II Casimir Wasa, had done something similar in the 17th century, when political turmoil and personal health forced his resignation. These cases served as comparisons for observers watching the British royal family closely. However, Buckingham Palace maintained that King Charles remained fully committed to his duties and would not step down unless absolutely necessary. His inner circle emphasized that he was still making key decisions, staying informed, and fulfilling the core functions of his role. Nevertheless, the slow but steady increase in Prince William's responsibilities suggested the royal family was preparing quietly for any eventuality. At the same time, William and Catherine's public role evolved further. They continued to attend high-profile events, support long-standing charitable causes, and share moments of family life through carefully curated social media content. Their growing visibility and their apparent ease in carrying out royal duties contributed to a sense of continuity and preparedness. The couple's Instagram account became a key tool in engaging with the public, particularly younger generations. Through videos, photos, and updates about their work, they offered a modern image of royalty, one that balanced tradition with approachability. These efforts reflected a broader shift in royal communication strategy, adapting to an age where connection and transparency are increasingly valued. By mid-2025, many observers believe that William and Catherine were being groomed for their future roles in a deliberate step-by-step fashion. Their actions didn't appear rushed or forced, but rather thoughtful and intentional. In the absence of a formal transition, this steady buildup allowed the public to become accustomed to their leadership style and contributions. The monarchy, as an institution, is deeply tied to notions of continuity, symbolism, and stability. Any change, especially one as significant as the abdication of a reigning monarch, requires careful planning and legal coordination. The British crown is not just a national symbol, but also tied to several other countries, including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. A royal succession would need to be recognized across these Commonwealth realms, necessitating complex constitutional procedures. This is why, even in the absence of any official declaration, behind-the-scenes preparations were likely underway. Such a move, if it were ever to happen, would need the cooperation of governments, parliaments, and public institutions across multiple nations. The memory of how quickly changes had to be implemented during King Edward VIII's abdication served as a reminder of the importance of readiness. Throughout all of this, William and Catherine continued to demonstrate their ability to lead with grace and effectiveness. They remained focused on causes that resonated with the public, ranging from mental health awareness to environmental protection. William's Earthshot Prize continued to receive international support and attention, offering practical solutions to climate-related challenges. Catherine's initiatives in early childhood development and mental well-being continued to deepen in scope and impact. Despite the intense media speculation, the palace remained firm in its refusal to engage in rumors about abdication. It asked for privacy, patience, and respect for the king's ongoing treatment. Meanwhile, the monarchy carried on, day by day, balancing the duties of the present with the weight of history and the uncertainty of the future. What lies ahead remains unclear. Will King Charles recover and continue to reign for many more years? Or will health challenges prompt an unexpected but historic transition? Could Prince William become king sooner than expected, ushering in a new era for the monarchy? These questions linger in the public's mind. For now, what is certain is that the British royal family is quietly navigating a period of transformation. With dignity, resilience, and a sense of duty, they are preparing for whatever the future may bring, while ensuring that the institution they serve remains strong, relevant, and trusted in the modern world.